Today what we're going to do is we're going to can up a bunch of turnips. This year in the garden, we grew a test trial run of turnips. Let me show you one. Here we go. Pretty good. We did have a couple of bug issues, but today we are going to get these canned up because I know we just grew a couple right here, but let me show you what else we found out in the field. So this is out in the cornfield, and I know there's a ton of weeds, and among those weeds, look at those right there. There are some more turnips. Let me go pull one up for you. Okay, so here's the one that came from the garden that we grew on purpose, and let me pull up another one. This one on this side we just lucked into, and it's seeded in, kind of like all of these other weeds out here. So today what we're going to do is we're going to can up a bunch of turnips since we ended up with so many this year. At the end of the video, I'm going to be opening up a jar of them to tell you what we think about the flavor of them. I am very unfamiliar with turnips. This was our first year even ever growing them, and I really don't even know what to expect as far as what they taste. So let's get them canned up in this video, and I'll tell you what they're like at the end. So I just want to show you what we have going on over here. Yesterday, we washed a bunch of turnips. These were all out in the field. Look how huge some of these are. It's kind of remarkable that they grew and they were free and we weren't even trying to grow them. So let's get these jarred up, and step one is washing and topping. You can eat the greens of these. We have some that we're going to be eating tonight. These ones I'll just pile over here. We might eat some of them.
As I was going through all of the turnips and cutting them, I was realizing that there was a lot of waste coming off these turnips. These are the ones that we ended up having, and this is the waste pile. You can see some of these were not nearly salvageable. Once we got everything back inside, I did give them another rinse because you probably noticed how gross and dirty that water was in the outside wash station. The canning recipe that we used for this will be linked in the description. It is from Penn State Extension. We had to wash in a couple batches. Then I got a big pot full of water and on the stove to get boiling. Cleaning a couple of jars. And our water is boiling and ready for some turnips. Trying to get them in there without too much splashing. And setting our timer for 5 minutes. Now it's ready. It's time to just throw them right into the jars. I'm going to give them a little stir and start filling the jars with the hot turnips. We did have to do this in 2 batches for this amount that I did today. And the jars had already been hot, but in pressure canning you don't have to have everything sterilized, which is pretty nice. Because the environment will be so hot, it will be sterilized environment anyways. After we got the jars all filled and packed pretty tight, I added some hot water with 1-inch headspace that was boiling or simmering in the pot next to our other big pot. Then I removed the air bubbles. I also added 1 teaspoon of canning salt, which is not videoed. And gave the jars a quick rim wipe before putting the flats and bands on. Now we are outside. We're going to put our bottom part in our pressure canner, and I already measured out the amount of water we need. It's about a little over 2 quarts. We're going to add a little bit of white vinegar to hopefully keep everything from getting too messy. In go our jars, and we have 7 of them in there, which is what most pressure canners fit. Now I'm checking our sealing ring gasket, and I did make sure our vent hole is nice and open. We're going to put our lid on, and it is time to light the turkey burner is what we're using because we're doing this outside, which is kind of nice to keep it out of the house. After steam has been coming out like this for 10 minutes, now it's time to put our jiggler on. We need a 15-pound jiggler per our elevation, but you should check into your elevation to find out what you need. Since we are canning quarts today, after 35 minutes we turned off the heat, and I always like to remove the jiggler and let everything release pressure naturally. We'll show you what's inside once it's completely cooled.
It is a few days later, so this is definitely cooled off. We're going to see what we have in here. I already peeked on them to make sure they were all sealed, and they are, but I wanted to open them with you on camera. So this is what they ended up looking like. and I want to see what these taste like. Now, since then, we did have some left over, and we did end up just eating them. And so now I know what they taste like, what turnips taste like. That was a really good seal. So now I have something to compare them to at least. Okay, let's see. They look kind of interesting. Tastes like what I'm used to a turnip tasting like now. They are also very mushy, so when we do end up eating these, we'll probably just end up mushing them up and having them kind of like mashed potatoes, which is a comparison that these are often compared to when I look them up online. So now that I've had a couple bites of this, I don't know if I would repeat this again. It's okay. Good, not great, in my opinion, for how this turned out. It will be a nice option to have in the pantry just for something a little bit different, but not really a personal fan. So if you haven't ever tried turnips before, just, those are my thoughts. Maybe you love turnips, and maybe there's something different that I could do to make this come out even better. So if you have a suggestion about that, please leave it in the comments, because I would like to read it. I like to learn new things about how to can and making really good food for our pantry. Anyways, that's about it for canning our turnips. A lot of them were wild turnips that we found out in the field, and some of them were turnips that we grew on purpose. Thanks so much for checking out this video. If you're interested in videos like this, please consider liking and subscribing, and let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.